Paula Show is on. The Paula Show. Come on, one and all. I extend an invitation to the Paula Show. Join in the conversation. Transforming behavior, recognizing our Savior, overcoming hurdles, achieving dreams. Together we can succeed.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Paula Show. It's season 15, and we have awesome guests lined up for you. Tonight, Lindsay Thompson is here with us. She's the resident British Commissioner to Antigua and Barbuda. She'll be telling us about all the places that she's visited on her diplomatic journey. We'll speak as well about the ongoing road project funded by CDB and the Barbuda project, as well as the Chevening Scholarship. I wonder if I'm too old to apply. I'll ask her that. But don't go any place, because it's going to be a lot of information being shared here tonight by the Commissioner. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay with us, please. Thank you for staying with us on the Paula Show tonight. Remember to watch the Paula Show via CTV Channel 2 on Tuesday nights at 9, and Sundays there's a rebroadcast at 1 in the afternoon. The Paula Show inspires, entertains, and transforms behavior. Like me as well on Facebook, and please view the Paula Show programs via YouTube, the Paula Show TV. Tonight my guest is Lindsay Thompson, and she's the resident British Commissioner to Antigua and Barbuda. Commissioner, welcome to the Paula Show.
Thank you so much,
We're
Mrs.
so
Lee.
grateful that you've accepted our invitation.
I'm delighted. I'm a bit starstruck, actually. It's good to be here.
Thank you very much. I am excited about travel. And I know you've been to loads of places.
Just a few. Yeah.
Just a few. How modest. You were motivated to apply to the Foreign Office because you saw an ad.
I did. So I did my bachelor's degree. I tried the private sector. I decided making money for big companies wasn't for me. So I packed my bags and went off to Southeast Asia, to Thailand actually, which we can see behind us.
Okay.
And after 2 years working, traveling around Southeast Asia, I decided what I did want to do with my life was to live abroad, to get to know different people, different cultures, different societies. So I went back to the UK to save some more money so I could go away again, and then just saw the ad for the Foreign Office, and it literally said, you know, do you want to get paid to travel the world? And I thought, well, why didn't I think about this before? So I kind of fell into it. Joined this Foreign Service at the ripe old age.
Years now?
17 years.
17 years, but you hardly look 17.
I'd probably look younger if it wasn't living in such wonderful, warm, sunny climates, actually. Yeah.
But what did you actually study?
Ancient history and archaeology. So, I mean, nothing that would sort of link me with foreign travel. My family, you know, apart from obviously family holidays in Europe, you know, there wasn't a sense of sort of wanderlust. And so I've no idea where it comes from, but you know, I've got the best job in the world.
And we're grateful that you're here. And so your first mission was to which
Brussels.
country?
To Brussels, to Belgium. So I worked in our mission to the EU, or what used to be our mission to the EU, and spent about 18 months there. Yeah. So it was baby steps, and then after that, it was a fantastic experience. But I thought, you know, I joined to see a bit more of the world.
But I'm keen to know.
Yeah.
Were you trained for the role before you left for Brussels?
Yes.
Like an orientation?
Yeah, so they do a combination of things. Once you're awarded your posting or your job in the UK, you have a number of courses and training opportunities you have to complete. And then for Brussels, I had French language training as well, because my job required that. So you have...
So foreign language is important in the diplomatic
It definitely helps, and it is depending on how you enter the service. It's something that they test. They encourage people who have a natural ability to learn languages.
And how old were you when you started?
26.
26. Now
So you can
get
add it up now.
26 and yeah.
So I was actually quite old. A lot of people join straight out of university. So I took a while to work out what I wanted to do.
But don't worry, you got an opportunity to travel and to decide what you want to do, because sometimes people start on a particular journey and then off ramp, recognizing this is not what I want to do.
Exactly.
But the good thing is, once you got on, you continued, and here you are.
Exactly.
But young female, on your mission, away from home, were you feeling capable? Were you feeling confident, I can do this?
Do you know what? I didn't. I had that, they call it imposter syndrome, don't they? Yeah. So, when you join my ministry, as you can imagine, there are so many talented, brilliant people. And particularly as a new member of staff, you know nothing about this huge organisation, and everyone else seems to know everything. So I remember
intimidated.
Exactly. And I think I lack confidence, and I think part of that, I joined at fairly sort of lowly ranks, because I don't think I had the confidence that I could actually do more senior jobs at that stage. And my first day, I remember sort of hiding away, and I went to the ladies and had a little cry because I thought I couldn't cope. But you realise that everyone's the same, and in our service everyone's changing jobs.
And you were probably a little bit homesick as well.
Well, a little bit, yeah. Not so. It wasn't so bad, but it was more that it's about confidence.
Yeah. What would you say is one of the primary skills that is required in your role? I know there are many, but one that really stands out.
It's actually your ability to listen.
Listen.
Because your job as a diplomat is to understand and to try and influence and build partnerships. And you can't do that unless you understand who you're talking to, where you're living, where you're working, and what people think. Yeah.
I suppose then you'd say that you have to listen to ensure that you achieve the objectives of your UK office.
Yes.
And what would be those objectives?
So here in Antigua and Barbuda, so as you can imagine, there's lots of things. So it's supporting our development objectives. So you mentioned the road and the infrastructure programs we have going on here. Our security objectives, so helping and working with the authorities here to protect our borders, stop drugs coming in, stop other things coming in that we don't want in either. Exactly, anything that we don't want in our countries. It's the environment, which is going to be an increasingly important piece of work as we head towards COP26. Education, achieving scholarships, which we'll talk about later.
In a little bit.
Yeah, so, and obviously as a diplomat, my job is reporting on what's happening more generally in this wonderful country and telling London about it as well.
Thank you for staying with us on the Paula Show. Tonight, we are speaking with the resident British Commissioner to Antigua and Barbuda. Now, Commissioner, I look at all the destinations that you've visited so far. And I'll just mention a few that I would like to visit.
Okay.
Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Really? Okay.
Dar es Salaam.
Oh, it's beautiful, yeah.
I was close to Tanzania the other day. I was in Malawi. And you were living in Malawi as well.
I did. I used to go there all the time. Yeah.
All the time?
Yeah, about 6 times a year for work.
6 times per year. I've visited once, and I'm of the view that I have visited the heart of Africa, and there's no other place like Malawi.
It is beautiful. It is. It's special.
And the people are really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd also like to visit Yemen.
Not at the moment, Paula, but
yes, not at the moment for obvious reasons. But when you visited, it was.
Oh, it was very different times, and the old city of Sana'a was just something absolutely sort of breathtaking. Yeah, it's they're wonderful people as well.
But a lot of those beautiful places have been destroyed by war.
It's heartbreaking. It really is. It really is. Yeah.
Okay, let me hear about your experience in Sierra Leone? Because that's someplace I'd love to visit as well.
Oh, there's nothing like Sierra Leone. I have to say, one of the few places in the world whose beaches rival Antigua and Barbuda. I don't say that lightly, but they are incredibly special. So I think that was my first posting in Africa, and the people of Sierra Leone, they're very direct, and they have that wonderful West African style of telling you exactly what they think, why they think it, and and you're always
very
clear.
So your confidence has been developed, or else?
I think my confidence definitely developed in Sierra Leone. They schooled me very well.
Nice.
My colleagues there schooled me. So yeah, confidence is on the rise. By the time at the end of my 3 years in Sierra Leone, my confidence was at an all-time high, because you just need to develop it. But it was also the first country that I spent a lot of time where there's big cultural differences, and that's the exciting thing. That's why I joined the Foreign Service. I don't want
to experience diverse cultures.
Exactly. And we had a wonderful team of Sierra Leonean staff who worked in the High Commission, and I learned very quickly that their ideal of style and beauty and what was attractive was different from the UK, and why wouldn't it be? And I have to say that
the food too.
Oh my God, the food, jollof rice. I just you just look at it and you put on a few pounds, and that's what happened. I was a tiny thing when I got there, and within a year or two, the food was good. Anyway, I was enjoying myself. And one morning I walked into the High Commission, and we had the wonderful receptionist called Daisy, and she looked me up and down and she said, "Lindsay." And I said, "Yes, Daisy, good morning." And she said, "You're looking fat." And as you can imagine,
we don't do that. But she meant it as a compliment.
This is it. So in Sierra Leone society, a larger lady is a sign of wealth. It's a sign that you can afford. She meant I was looking good.
Because if you're too skinny in certain parts of Africa, they consider you to be unwell.
Exactly. And I knew that. I knew that. But I did go on a diet afterwards.
That was motivation.
It was motivation. Right? Get working, girl. Yeah.
I can totally understand what you're saying, because when I was in Malawi, they would feed us, and and at night they're presenting these meals, and I'm saying, I'm not accustomed to eating like this. And you're 6 hours ahead, and I'm not accustomed to eating this heavy at this time of night. And they would say, "Come on, Paula, you're not fun, you have to eat." And they served a lot of meat, and I went there not eating meat, eating maybe some minimal chicken, mostly fish. And 2 weeks after I returned, I realized all that eating for almost a month, I needed a Daisy to tell me something. So is Antigua your first Caribbean mission?
It's my first sort of substantive time here. I've done a couple of short stints, one in very short stint in Cuba, and I spent a few weeks in Barbados the other year. But yeah, first time.
Cuba's on my bucket list.
Oh, go. Just go.
Just go. Diplomats, ambassadors, resident commissioners.
Yes.
Oh, what's the difference?
It's confusing, isn't it? So,
almost.
So the simple rule is whether you're in a Commonwealth country or not. Okay. So if you think about the offices, so somewhere like America, it's not Commonwealth, we have an embassy, and our head of our mission is an ambassador. Okay. In Commonwealth countries, we have high commissions, which is why we have a British High Commission here in St John's.
And we also have a High Commission in the UK.
Absolutely, correct, Okay. So my job title is slightly unusual for kind of historical reasons. So what we decided to do when we opened the new office here and in the rest of the Eastern Caribbean is to keep our High Commissioner in Barbados, but her appointed kind of chargé d'affaires, so chief of office, would be called a resident British Commissioner.
So your boss is in Barbados?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And you said the Eastern Caribbean?
Yeah, so as well as opening a High Commission here, we're also opening, or in the process of opening offices in St Vincent and Grenada, and also up in the Bahamas as well. So it's part of a bigger expansion of the UK diplomatic network.
But I understand that you plan to open commissions in several other countries as well.
Yeah, that's right. So there's 12 in total that were opening either last year or this year, 4 in the Caribbean, and then the others are in Africa, the South Pacific. Yeah.
Do you have resident commissioners in the British territories like Anguilla, the BVI, Cayman?
So we have governors.
Governors?
Yeah, we have
so
governors.
So you're switching on me again now.
I know. We don't make it easy. We don't make it easy.
You have governors in the British territories.
So the overseas, we call them overseas territories. So they are, they have governors who are appointed by the Foreign Ministry to oversee the governance of the overseas territory. Oh. So they are sort of part of Britain.
And the objective is the same though? Security and reporting the mood of the nation.
But it's more governing than kind of, because there is obviously a government, so there's a government in Montserrat, there's a new government in Montserrat, but our governor kind of oversees their work because it is part of Britain anyway. It's complicated. I'm not going to test you afterwards. So
no, I got it.
Yeah.
54 Commonwealth countries.
Yes.
And in those Commonwealth countries, you have commissioners.
Yes, High Commissioners.
High Commissioners.
Yeah.
If it's not a Commonwealth country, example, the US, it's an ambassador.
Correct.
And in the British territories, they're governors.
Yes.
So the British territories in the Caribbean, they're governors.
Yes.
Would it be the same for the British territories that are not in the Caribbean area?
So
governors still.
So in the Atlantic, for example, or somewhere like Pitcairn in the South Pacific. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're quite right.
Commissioner.
Yeah.
Are you required, therefore, to travel across the Caribbean and meet with your fellow commissioners or meet with the High Commissioner in Barbados? Are you required to do that from time to time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my focus is Antigua and Barbuda, and quite frankly, I really love living here, so I'm very happy to spend as much of my time as possible here. But yes, from time to time, we gather mainly in Barbados, for sort of regional discussions, or maybe perhaps go to somewhere like Miami.
Okay. Is there a possibility that you might have to relocate from Antigua sometime soon?
No.
No?
I'm not leaving.
You're not leaving?
No way. No,
you're volunteering to stay then?
No, so each job overseas with our Foreign Service has a certain amount of years.
Okay.
So my job here will be for between 3 and 4 years. So yeah. Obviously, I get to go on leave sometimes. I might have family in the UK, so it's nice to see them from time to time. But
and then you don't know, let's say, well, clearly you'll have to leave in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And
give someone else a chance.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll be sad to see you go.
Yeah.
But do you have an idea ahead of time where you might be posted?
So after this job, I'll be going back to the UK. So in our system, I know. Wow. To be fair, I've had a good run, because normally we do 2 back-to-back overseas roles, and then you have to come back to the UK. This is actually my 3rd, so I'm not going to argue.
When you return to the UK, you might not even be familiar with their culture anymore. You've been away for a while.
Well, this is it. Of the last 10 years, I've only actually spent 2 living in the UK. So I think it's good to touch base with home from time to time. Yeah.
You're going to miss the beaches.
Oh God, don't.
The sunshine.
I cannot think about that now.
English weather, it's so unpredictable. I was in Darlington a couple of years ago. I was monitoring your elections.
Yeah.
And I was in this cute place called Darlington. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And there were times when it was so sunny. And you're on your way, up and about. And my British colleagues, they're asking, where's the umbrella? Who needs an umbrella? It's sunny. And then, voila, something happens.
Yeah.
And the weather just abruptly turns on us.
Yeah.
That's-
I went back in August for a couple of weeks and I didn't see the sun. You know, it's supposed to be our, there we go. But
Well,
hey.
don't worry about it. We'll send you home with some mugs and some placemats, and they'll all have sunshine on there. So when you're feeling a little bit down, just look at the sunshine.
That's what I'll do.
Thank you for staying with us on The Paula Show. Remember to watch The Paula Show via CTV Channel 2 on Tuesday nights at 9, and Sundays there's a rebroadcast at 1 in the afternoon. Like me on Facebook, The Paula Show. Commissioner, we spoke earlier, though briefly, about the 3 main pillars of your undertaking in Antigua and Barbuda. And in this segment, I'd love to speak primarily to the environment and the infrastructural development projects.
Great.
Reducing carbon emissions. How are you planning to do that in Antigua and Barbuda?
Not on our own.
I was thinking we're getting a free pass.
But the truth of the matter is, small island developing states like Antigua and Barbuda aren't causing climate change. You know, they're not the big polluters. We know that.
You don't have the factories.
You don't have the factories, and you're the most vulnerable
Yes.
to climate change. So we need to work together. We're not going to achieve our COP26 objectives if we don't work together.
So it's a collaboration.
Absolutely. That's it. The UK and Antigua and Barbuda is a collaboration. We have to work together. So we're doing it in a number of ways. So one of the big infrastructure programs we have here is on the island of Barbuda. Barbuda was devastated 3 years ago, and its power infrastructure is particularly vulnerable to bad weather. So the UK, with the CDB, has I think it's about $9.5 million EC dollar program.
That's huge.
It's huge, yeah, it's huge. So it's going to take most of the power infrastructure underground. So God forbid there's more bad weather. It's protected. It's going to make it less. It's going to reduce the carbon footprint of that power. It's going to make more people have access to the grid. It's going to provide more backup power to key buildings in the event of a.
Do you realize that you're modernizing Barbuda's system even more so than Antigua?
Well, we're doing it in partnership. Underground.
And we have all these wires running across overhead.
We've got to start somewhere. This is it. We've got to start. And you know, we know that it's Barbuda that at the moment needs help in that respect. So, I say it's with the CDB.
No, I'm happy for the Barbuda.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm thinking maybe you'll come across us eventually.
well. So there we go. And obviously we're we can only do this with APUA's help.
Yes.
You know, they're the delivery partner. But you mentioned Antigua. You know, in our own way, we're helping as well. We've all seen the roadworks on Friars Hill and around the airport.
Yes.
Do
you know how many times I've had to wait on that queue, that green light? It's not changing. I need to go. Lindsay Thompson is the reason for this.
I can't claim sole responsibility, but you know, I live off Friars Hill Road, so I share your pain. But the good news is that the road work should be finished by the end of the year. And if you've driven on any of them, and I think about 75% of the population do.
I'm tempted.
Yeah.
When driving on Friars Hill Road to release the throttle. But
please
I'm
don't.
going to be very responsible.
Please.
No speeding. Someone said that we have to ensure that the environment is protected, not only for ourselves at this time, but for future generations. Very often, world leaders and the decision makers, they do not think beyond the immediate. And so everybody thinks, oh, climate change is not that bad now. It's okay, we can manage. But then our children, our great-grandchildren, should the world last that long, they will suffer immensely.
Absolutely.
The ice caps in the Arctic, they're melting. Sea temperatures are becoming higher. Hence, a flat place like Barbuda, Antigua, Barbados, hurricanes are becoming more ferocious.
They are.
And that water is going to spill right over onto the land.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, absolutely. I completely agree. And everyone has a role to play. You know, it's not just, oh, well, you know, it's my kid's problem or my grandkid's problem. Everyone has a role to play, whether it's recycling, whether it's trying to reduce how much you use your car. I know that's very difficult here, but the good news is I understand there are some electric buses coming, so that's going to be it's really, really exciting. It's just doing your bit to protect your environment. Don't trash your beautiful island.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes on the beaches, people leave their waste at
Yeah.
the beach. I just don't understand. We have to be more responsible. I agree with you. I noticed that your funding is primarily from the CDB. Is there a
No,
reason
so we
for
do
that?
a lot of things in partnership with the CDB. So with Barbuda, we give most of the
roadworks.
money, and they give a bit on top. The UK does a lot of funding through international fora, international groups. You get more value for your money that way. So with COVID, we gave money to PAHO. And yes, so Antigua and
Pan-American
Barbuda,
Health Organization, yes.
exactly. So PAHO, as the regional experts, know exactly which countries in need and
Because they would have the data.
they have the data, they have the expertise. And of course, Antigua and Barbuda benefited from that. But we tend to work through partners who have the expertise and that kind of regional know-how.
Which means you've been contributing to our fight against COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. So via PAHO, I think Antigua and Barbuda benefited, I think it was about US dollars, $186,000 US dollars worth of assistance delivered through PAHO.
Delivered through PAHO.
Yeah.
Accountability is a huge factor when one is working on projects of this magnitude. I would expect, therefore, that there's someone from maybe the UK government or a diplomat sitting on the CDB board.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So our regional director for development, who's based in Barbados, sits on the CDB board, and for projects like the roads here in Antigua, there are board meetings with the CDB, with APOA, with the Ministry of Finance here, all together looking at how the project's developing and how we can make this a success.
And would you be open to local partnerships on projects?
So, as you can imagine, there's very strict rules and a lot of red tape with our,
Protocols,
yeah,
yes.
exactly. So a lot of funding. So how it works, and because we tend to look ahead to multi-year sort of programs, particularly with the big infrastructure programs, it's a bit tricky to do that. There's certain things we're exploring at the moment. I'm not going to go into any detail now, but we're
When
keeping
you're ready
an
to
open
talk
mind.
about it, you need to return to the Paula Show
Absolutely.
so I can have first-hand information.
Absolutely.
Commissioner, it's going to be a huge challenge to change mindsets because innocuously we all contribute to climate change negatively. I travel and the aircraft, the fuel that they use, the fumes in the atmosphere. But I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about getting to another destination, getting to New York to do some shopping. You don't have fun. But by doing that, I'm contributing to climate change. Even cruises, the ship,
Yeah, absolutely.
everything that we do affect the environment. So, I mean, what do we do?
It's tricky, isn't it? Because
It's tricky. Over 7 billion people on planet Earth.
Exactly.
And we're all doing our individual thing.
Yeah, and we all want to do our best, and we all have lives to lead, and you know and that does involve travel. That's the world we live in. But I think, you know, on a smaller level, just since COVID, actually, I think in some ways as an office we've looked at the way we work. For a while we couldn't travel. So we start using things like Zoom.
Yes.
And actually,
I love Zoom.
Zoom's fantastic, isn't it? And not only are you saving trips in your car downtown and the pollution that causes and the traffic jams, you're saving money as well, because you're not.
That's true.
Exactly. So it's just, I think every little thing you can do will help. And with flights, you can offset your carbon emissions. It does cost, but you can.
Listen, I suppose then we just have to pay more attention to what we're doing.
Exactly.
Make the incremental changes.
Yeah.
And every little change will help.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be anything huge, just a little bit at a time.
Absolutely.
And encouraging each other
Yeah, absolutely.
to stay with the plan.
Yep, that's it.
Got you. Coming up next on The Paula Show, we'll be speaking about the Chevening Scholarship and how it has improved the quality of life for the successful candidates and even for their families and communities. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please. Since 1983, over 50,000 scholarships and fellowships have been awarded, and this has been to exceptional professionals from around the world. So if you think you're an exceptional professional, then you need to apply for the scholarship. And what's the age range, my dear?
There's no age limit. There's no age limit. What we're looking for are future leaders in whatever field they choose to
Even
study.
if you're 80 or 70?
I think that last year the oldest scholar was about 65.
Wow.
This year the age range from Antigua and Barbuda is from sort of early mid-20s to 35. But there's no age limit.
Okay.
There's certain criteria. I'll
Certainly.
go through those now. You need to have a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
You need to have completed 2 years of work experience or employment.
One second, Commissioner.
Yeah.
This is a master's program.
It certainly is.
But if you don't have a bachelor's degree, but you have a master's, that's okay?
So if you're so bright and brilliant that you've already got a master's degree,
Yes.
then yes, that's
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Yeah. You're thinking about yourself there. So if you're so bright and brilliant that your first degree was a master's, absolutely, but it's a minimum of a bachelor's degree.
Okay,
and a minimum of 2 years of work experience. Now that could be in a job since you've studied or before you studied, or it could be voluntary work even, but it has to be,
Really?
yeah, absolutely. It's but at least 2 years of that.
Work experience, yes.
Yeah, you have to be, if you're applying here in Antigua and Barbuda, you have to be a citizen of Antigua and Barbuda. So I'm afraid if you have another passport and you live here, this isn't the time for you. And you have to, as I said, it's about identifying and supporting future leaders. You have to have a passion for your subject area. You have to have a passion for your country, because the most important thing is after you've studied in the UK and you've acquired all these amazing new skills and knowledge, that you are committed to coming back here for a minimum of 2 years and giving back to your country in whatever field it is that you're an expert in.
And this scholarship is offered in all the Commonwealth countries?
Yep, it's offered in not just the Commonwealth countries. I think it's about 160 countries around the world. Yeah. So, and every
You made
year
it so much more difficult for us Commonwealth people then.
Well, I mean, there is an element of competition because this is a very prestigious scholarship, and we only want the brightest and the best. But you know, in the Eastern Caribbean this year we had 9 scholars, nine scholarships, and 3 came from Antigua and Barbuda.
For the first time ever.
First time ever.
And
It's
we're
a
making
record.
that our benchmark going forward.
I hope so.
We're going to get 4 next time.
I hope I stake my professional reputation on it. But so you have a wealth of talent here, and that's only to be
And 3
celebrated.
ladies?
3 ladies.
Oh, go ladies!
In fact, last year the 2 students who've just returned are both women. So there's actually, I think, more women than men since.
And that has been a trend across the Caribbean, that
I think
more
so,
females than males are aiming for higher education and seemingly are more successful than our male colleagues. But the strangest thing is, we don't have the top jobs. We ladies, we don't have the top jobs.
You're right, and I see this as a start of addressing, what was an
Breaking the glass
imbalance.
ceiling.
Yeah, exactly.
Several
Breaking that ceiling.
cracks.
Yeah.
Well, Hillary did some cracks. My girl Hillary Clinton. So let's see what else happens.
Yeah.
You study in the UK.
Yes.
You return to your country.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Can't I do it online?
Well, No, you can't. Although our students, the three ladies who are going this year, have started their degrees online whilst they're waiting to be able to travel.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, but the point of this program is to give you that experience of living and working in the UK, and building what we hope is a start of a very long relationship between the scholar and the UK. And it's about,
and I suppose with the other students as well.
Exactly.
Expanding your global network.
Exactly, expanding your network. So every year there are thousands of Chevening scholars from around the world, but also you're networking with non-scholars, so British students from all over Europe and the rest of the world as well. So it's about networking, it's about building.
Do I get to choose the university
Absolutely.
that I would love to attend?
You need to pick 3 courses at any university. They can be 3 courses at 3 different...
Cambridge?
Cambridge.
Oh!
Oxford. If you think you've got the talent and you can get an unconditional offer, you can absolutely do it. So yeah, any course, any UK university.
Yes.
But it's about, you need to think very carefully about what you're going to apply for. So my background, believe it or not, is ancient history and archaeology. So if I suddenly apply for something in medicine, it's not going to work. There's no correlation. So pick something that's linked to your passions, linked to
international
your career.
relations.
Exactly. You'd be perfect.
Yes, international relations.
Yeah.
I am toying with the idea of applying.
Okay.
It's 2 years abroad?
1 year.
1 year abroad.
Fully funded.
Fully funded. And I get a little stipend.
You do, yeah. So you get your return flights, you get all your tuition paid, and obviously you need to get a student visa.
Stop teasing me, Thompson, stop, because I have asked for the link whereby I can start reviewing the information with a view to apply.
Okay.
But then I'm thinking, a year away from my husband, can I take him with me?
You can, unfortunately.
At whose expense?
At yours. So
two shall become one. So if I'm going and you're paying for me, then you have to automatically think that, they've become one.
I like where you're coming from, and there's no way we'd want to separate a loving couple. But unfortunately, it's the scholar only. Yeah.
Oh boy. Take me through the point of applying. I suppose they're interviewing sessions.
So everyone has to apply online.
Yes.
I think you're going to show the website, but it's chevening.org. So you apply online. All those applications, and I think last year we had about 65,000 applications from around the world. There's a lot.
Is it just a matter of completing an application form, or there are other requirements?
So the first stage is to complete that application form. You need to do your research into what courses you want to do.
International relations.
Okay, international relations. So you've picked your 3 courses. You've completed the form. That then goes into the Chevening system, and then they prepare a shortlist. And then they send them to our high commissions and embassies around the world, and then we form a panel and start interviewing people. And we normally interview around 3 to 4 people for every possible place that we have. And the interview's not easy. You're going to get a bit of a grilling for a good hour if you're lucky. About an hour, yeah. I mean, these are very prestigious scholarships, and they cost, frankly, they cost the taxpayer a lot of money. So we really want to make sure that we protect the integrity of the scholarships.
Serious.
Absolutely.
Yes. Because the aim is for that person not to drop out, but to continue to the end.
Exactly.
And graduate with honors too.
Yeah, exactly. And then come back and become a future leader in their field. We've got former prime ministers, we've got current senators,
World Bank employees.
We've
Girl,
got
when I'm done, I'm off to the UN. Go ahead.
That's it.
UN, New York City, here I come.
Exactly. So we really want the brightest and the best.
Yes.
So it's not easy. You need to do your homework and at all stages of the application. It's not just a case of filling in the form the day before the deadline. So to help people prepare, we're having a webinar, a Zoom a Zoom meeting on the 15th of October.
15th of October.
At 6 p.m. And you're going to show the details, I think.
Of
now.
course.
And to give people a chance to ask all the questions that they'd like to ask, things that aren't on the Chevening website, any concerns, and to really help them prepare their application. I can't stress enough the need to prepare your application, your online application. I know it might seem something you just fill in the night before the deadline, but you really need to think very carefully about your choice of course. You need to really think very carefully about how you sell yourself and how you communicate your talents and your abilities and your vision for not just successfully completing the master's degree, but what you're going to do when you get back and how you're going to contribute.
Future plans.
Yeah, your future plans.
By the way, generally, when one is applying for a scholarship, essays are required.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. And the form...
Do I have to submit essays?
So, no essays are required in addition to the form, but you'll see on the form a lot of the questions are perhaps short essays, several hundred words. So we're not, like I say, you've got to prepare and really sell yourself. I think I was talking to one of our successful scholars this morning, and she was successful on her third attempt. She tried two times before, got shortlisted, then didn't quite make it through. But she kept on persevering and thinking about what she'd learned from the prior experience. And I think a lot of it came down to confidence, which we were talking about before, and showing what value you're already making in your field here.
I like the fact, though, that it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be academia.
No.
You can volunteer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And still qualify for the scholarship.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, you might be contributing through your church or some sort of society or group, but you're doing something. Yeah.
Lindsay, I don't only volunteer in Antigua, Recently I was in New York. And I was volunteering my time distributing food at food banks. So I am super qualified for this scholarship because not only do I work in Antigua, I work internationally.
Exactly. Well, I mean, see, and when you're successful and get interviewed, that's the sort of example that people want to hear.
Having spoken about your 3 pillars, I want to take you to the people stuff.
Okay.
The U.S. government, by way of the embassy in Barbados, when there's a hurricane, they send a warning, or if there's, elevated crime, there's a warning sent to residents and citizens alike. Are you doing that for your UK citizens?
The answer is yes. We always update we have travel advice. We have a thing called travel advice. So every country in the world, we have a travel advice page on gov.uk, the UK government site. And what British people here in Antigua and Barbuda can do, residents or people thinking of visiting here, they can subscribe to our travel advice. So if we ever put an alert or a warning or anything changes, because the main purpose of that travel advice is to inform people so they can respect local laws. They'll get an email instantly saying there's been a change, and they can follow us on Twitter at UK and Caribbean, or if they want to follow me at LT in A and B. And the same handles for Instagram and for Facebook. It's UK in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. So all our information is there.
Information is available. It's just that it's not pushed to you. You have to subscribe to it.
You have to subscribe.
Okay.
So we have
Very good.
We used to have a system where British people abroad could register, and then they would, get that information pushed to them. And what we found is globally that only about 1% of Brits were actually ever registering. And then when we had a crisis and we needed to access those records, they were completely out of date. Brits are tricky. We move around.
You like to travel.
Yeah, we like to travel. So we found that this is the most effective way. People can choose to follow us, and then they will receive the information.
Sounds good. What are the visa requirements for people wishing to visit the UK?
So if you have an Antigua and Barbuda passport, you don't need a visa to visit the UK for up to 6 months. And when I say visit, that means you're not allowed to work and you can't study. It's to visit friends, family.
Vacation.
Vacation, yeah, just visit. But if you want to study in the UK, like our Chevening scholars are going to do, or you want to work there, then you need a type of
work
visa.
permit and different type of visa.
Yeah, that's right. But
6 months, that's a long time.
I know.
Similar to the US.
Yeah, well, you know, and if you can afford to spend 6 months in the UK, you're very welcome.
And very wealthy.
Yeah, I'm very wealthy. Yeah.
In recent Senate hearings in the US, we heard of diplomats updating their governments about what occurred in various countries. And I honestly thought that it didn't sound right.
Okay.
But then earlier you said it's the norm. So I'm now going to, well, I'm actually now better understanding the role that diplomats play.
Yeah.
When they are posted abroad, that they have to return information to their country of origin.
My job is to understand the country here and understand the people and what they think. And so I can advise, you know, if there is a new program or a new project, I can give advice on the best way to design and deliver that project and the best people to talk to.
Or if we need assistance in a particular area.
Exactly. You know.
What about your political opinions? Are those taboo?
That's not what I'm paid for.
That sounds like a response that is in the protocols. Lindsay, if you ask that question, this is what you say. So you don't say no comments, ever. Don't ever say no comments. You respond, I don't get paid to do that. I totally understand, because it can create a dicey situation for your government.
Well, absolutely. So my role, so I'm a civil servant, I'm a UK civil servant. I'm paid to serve the government that the UK people elect. You know, I have a vote as a private citizen. My personal politics don't come into it. I serve whoever the people vote
Keep your opinions to yourself.
Absolutely.
All right. I've had the Venezuelan ambassador on the Paula Show.
Yeah.
I've had the Cuban ambassador on the Paula Show. And now you're on the Paula Show. All females.
I know, it's great, isn't it? Yeah! You should have the Dominican Republic ambassador.
No, not all females.
The Chinese ambassador is
the gentleman from Venezuela was before this ambassador. I think he's now elsewhere. Yes, so a male and 2 females. I should have the Chinese and the Dominican Republic.
So the Dominican Republic is a lady and the Chinese ambassador is a gentleman. But the new Venezuelan...
But I might need to speak Mandarin for that.
I'm sure his English is very good.
Well, I hope so, because I'm going to ask for... I love speaking with ambassadors, but please. and when I was speaking with the Venezuelan ambassador and the ambassador from Cuba, I had an opportunity to practice my Spanish.
Oh, how wonderful.
And the Cubans came and celebrated. It was their 60th anniversary in Antigua. And we were dancing here. They were teaching me to do the flamenco and all sorts of things. And I was so awkward.
Well, you don't want to learn any of our traditional English dances. They're not quite...
Do you have?
Yeah, we do. We have a thing called maybe Morris dancing. It's like a team dancing thing, usually done by men. And we have maypole dancing around a pole.
Well, we do that here.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's not... It's very different from...
I think you've represented your country exceptionally well on the Paula Show tonight. And you have an open invitation to return at some time in the future when you have additional information to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Maybe next year when our 3 ladies come back from their studies, we'll get them on, because you want to hear from them.
And by then, COVID will be long gone. So we'll have an audience as well, and we'll have people cheering them on into their new 2 years of work in Antigua and Barbuda.
Wonderful.
You've been working in the diplomatic circle for almost 20 years?
What, 17?
Yes, but that's almost 20.
Let's not age me that much.
It's just 3 more years, Thompson.
Everything.
Okay, I will be particularly careful. 17 years.
Thank you.
Your advice to anyone who's listening tonight and would like to undertake such a career?
I think study hard. You know, it's competitive. You need good grades, good degree, but more importantly, you need a passion a passion to understand the world around you, and a passion to meet new people, a passion to try and understand new people, new cultures, new society. And unlike what I've been doing tonight, a passion for listening.
Well, listen, that's a career path that I have chosen for myself.
Wonderful.
And I do believe that my studies in international relations will be most useful.
Absolutely.
You agree?
Yeah. I do agree.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for staying with us on the Paula Show tonight. Lindsay Thompson, the resident British Commissioner, has been my guest, and I'm sure that you have enjoyed our presentation. Have a good evening. Goodbye.
The Paula Show is on. The Paula Show. Come on, one and all. I extend an invitation to the Paula Show. Join in the conversation. Transforming behavior, recognizing our Savior, overcoming hurdles, achieving dreams. Together we